Welcome back, everybody. My next guest is one of New York's top lawyers, and he finds himself smack dab in the middle of two of the country's most notorious cases. He represents the families of both Natalee Holloway, that's John Q. Kelly. He represents both the family of Natalee Holloway, the 18-year-old Alabama girl missing and presumed dead on the island of Aruba. And John also represents the family of Kathleen Savio, Drew Peterson's third wife, whose death in 2004 has just been ruled a homicide. John Q. Kelly, welcome. Okay, first of all, you've got the Joran van der Sloot situation. He confesses on tape. How strong is the case against him?
I think they have a very strong case, Geraldo. I mean, he goes into Carlos and Charlie's a half hour before closing. He buys Natalee a drink. He takes it from the bartender. He walks over to her, hands her the drink, stands there. She finishes the drink. Within 20 minutes, she's incoherent. She's lapsing in and out of consciousness. We know he's dropped off at a beach with her. He says now she went into seizures. You know, she started shuddering, stopped breathing. And then he gives three different versions of what happens to her, but one of them has to be true because we've never found her, and you don't dispose of a body and you don't help in locating the person when you're the last one with her unless you have something to hide. And I think he's fearful that an autopsy, if she was found, would show there was something in her system.
But because the body was disposed of, aren't you frustrated that it does not appear as if he's going to be rearrested?
Sure, but I think they could arrest him and prosecute him on a circumstantial case just on what they have right now. A combination of other testimony in his own words would be enough to prosecute him.
That would be reasonable, but that would not be Aruba.
No, you're right.
Let me go to Kathleen Savio now, whose death has now been ruled a homicide. There is, I mean, this feeling about Drew Peterson, this horrible man who is a suspect, a named suspect, in the disappearance and presumed death of wife number 4, Stacey Peterson. And now that Kathleen Savio, whose family you represent, has been ruled the victim of a murder, can there be a civil wrongful death action against Drew Peterson to force him to give some testimony?
Well, that's what we're looking for. If the grand jury should not indict him, or even if he was indicted and acquitted of the homicide, we could then bring our wrongful death action. And, you know, he had the motive, he had the opportunity. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence, and there's the autopsy report that shows she was clearly beaten and a murder victim, you know, so we'd like to proceed with it. But we're in line once again behind the prosecutors.
Behind the prosecutors again, and are you frustrated there that it took 4 years, this woman lying in that grave unavenged?
Well, you know, at least they've re-examined it, they've reopened the case, and they've taken action. Hopefully, you know, unlike Aruba and the way they've acted there, that we'll see some, you know, criminal prosecution in this case with results.
How much money has Drew Peterson drained from the, you know, the estate of Kathleen Savio?
Well, I'll tell you, that's one of the questions, but we know there were very significant life insurance policies at the time of her death. We know there was a very significant bar, restaurant, and property that went with it at the time of her death, and there was the marital dwelling. All these things had not been distributed yet between them, although their divorce was final. So, as I said, there was not only just opportunity, there was motive also, and it was a financial motive.
You have two of these cases where you see justice so clearly, and yet it seems just beyond our reach.
Well, you know, Geraldo, it's like O.J. Simpson. You know, we do what we can on the civil end. The implications, the punitive measures aren't as great, but it's something, it's some form of satisfaction if necessary to the family. But obviously the best result would be a criminal prosecution and someone spending the rest of their life in jail for a homicide they committed.
Yeah, and the person I think that should be is a former sergeant in the Bolingbrook Police Department, a man who is responsible, I believe, the evidence suggests, of at least 2 of his wives going missing and dead. John Q. Kelly, good luck to you. Good luck to the families. Thank you for being with me. I appreciate
it. Thanks, Geraldo.
Okay,
good to see you.
Coming up, we'll go live to the memorial for the victims of the tragic shooting at Northern Illinois.